It started with a ripped blazer and a hallway, so silent you could hear your own heart thudding. You ever have one of those moments where you know, right then and there, life's not going back to how it was, no matter how hard you want it to? That was me. No one at Brookage Prep saw it coming, not the boys who thought they owned the hallways, not the school polished bright as a country club, and for damn sure not the folks who built the place to keep people like me quiet. But when I planted my feet that morning and threw Colton Hayes' golden boy, quarterback, living mascot for old money down like a sack of potatoes, I wasn't just fighting back, I was lighting a fuse. What came next wasn't just a fire, it was a full-blown reckoning. First Monday in October, the air hung thick over those iron gates, the campus looking like something out of a southern fairy tale. White columns, marble benches, lawns trimmed tighter than a new haircut. Every inch of that school whispered, "You're lucky to be here." I felt it, carrying my beat-up backpack, blazer a size too big, and bought off the fundraising rack, skirt hem fixed by my mom after too many washes. My mother worked nights at Grady Memorial, clocking double shifts to keep the lights on in our little apartment in East Atlanta, just so I could ride the city bus out here, head down, praying for a quiet day. Inside those gates, silence was my best friend, but only when nobody was hunting. That day, I was cutting through to chemistry, dodging eye contact, sneakers silent on the floor when I heard it. Well, look what the scholarship dragged in. Colton, with his two sidekicks, Jace, who looked like he could bench press a truck, and Landon, the board chairman's kid blocking the hall, faces full of that smirk you get from never being told no. You could smell the privilege off them aftershave, money, and the promise that whatever they did, someone would smooth it over. They wanted me to react, to flinch, to remind everyone who belonged and who didn't. "Move," I said, voice low. But Colton just stepped in closer, fingers brushing my shoulder, and cracked a joke about charcoal and cocoa butter, you know the kind. Cheap, easy, cruel. This was the third time that week. Locker shoves, spilled juice, the whole parade. They weren't even being creative, just relentless. Most folks didn't say a word, just watched, silent, pretending not to see. That's the part that burns the most, you know? Not the ones who throw the punch, but the ones who look away. This time, when Colton grabbed my blazer, it tore loud as a gunshot. The hallway froze. Phones came out, kids love a good show, and he stood there, making a spectacle like he just won a prize. And then something clicked inside me, not fear, not even anger, just a kind of tired clarity. My dad used to teach me judo on our living room carpet. Always said, you don't got to be stronger, just smarter, let their own weight take them down. So I did. One clean move. Used Colton's own swagger, his size, his stupid confidence, and next thing he knew, he was on the floor, all 6'2" of him, and the sound echoed off the marble. Chaos broke loose. Phones up, kids shouting, the air thick with the shock of seeing the golden boy flipped like a pancake. I just stood there, not proud, not apologetic, just breathing. Because for the first time since I set foot in Brookage, I wasn't the one shrinking. Then Maya Lopez, girl from my English class, always quiet, captain of the basketball team, stepped in, phone raised, recording the whole thing. "I've got it," she said, her eyes on Colton. For a second, he tried to brush it off, but his confidence cracked when Maya didn't back down. Suddenly I wasn't alone, and something deep in my chest started to stir, not safety, not power, just possibility. The assistant principal dragged us to the office, Colton still putting on a show for his parents and their lawyer. But Maya, and even my English teacher, Miss Bennett, had video proof. They played the whole thing for the principal, the threats, the grab, my throw. Still, they tried to paint me as the problem. Scholarship girl, too aggressive. But Miss Bennett spoke up. "This is a pattern," she said. "It's always swept under the rug." For once, the school didn't. They gave me a warning, but Colton got suspended. It wasn't enough, not really, but it was more than anybody had ever managed before. That night, the video went viral. First TikTok, then Instagram, people commenting, arguing, turning it into a meme. But the applause didn't last. The next day, someone trashed my locker, spray-painted, "You don't belong here." They took pictures, posted them with captions like, "Aggressive charity case." There was a text, "Transfer, or we destroy everything you have." Not signed, just a threat. My books were gone, my gym clothes strung up for everyone to see. The silence that once protected me felt more like a coffin. But this time I wasn't invisible. Maya and Ava, the school paper editor, and Andre, who'd survived his own hell at Brookage, found me. They've been tracking it all, every shove, every slur, every story the school tried to bury. They called it the ledger. We want you in this not as a victim, as a voice, they said. I wanted to run. Honestly, hope is dangerous. Makes you believe you might change things. But maybe that's what they never planned for, that the girl they tried to break would find her own army. Colton and his crew weren't done. They tricked me into meeting them in the nurse's office, threatened my mom's job, our apartment, my future. Demanded I record a video apologizing, taking the blame. That's when Maya kicked in the door, phone live, streaming to thousands, and suddenly they were the ones trapped. The principal, the new head of school, even the police arrived. For once, the story didn't get buried. Colton, Jace, Landon were cuffed and marched out while the whole school watched. The live stream was everywhere by sunset. By morning, Brookage wasn't the same. More stories spilled out. Kids from years past, other schools, all of them sharing what silence cost them. There were hearings, board meetings, parents flooding in, some angry, some just scared. Evelyn Hayes, Colton's mother, stood in front of everyone and said, "If I want accountability, I have to start at home." The boys got expelled. The school rewrote its rules, built a new code. For the first time, we wrote it together. Ava took over the school paper. Maya got elected class president. Andre's art went up in the halls. And me? I got an invitation to speak at a national education summit, then a full ride to college. I spoke at Congress, I wrote a book, and every time I thought about quitting, another message would show up. Because of you, I spoke up today. Years later, I went back to Brookage, walked the halls, read the plaque with my name on it, hugged a freshman who said, "Because of you, I stayed." It wasn't about being a hero. I just wanted to walk through a hallway without flinching, breathe without hiding, belong without asking permission. That's how change begins, right? Not with speeches or grand plans, but with someone finally refusing to be erased. If my story moved you, if you saw yourself in the cracks, or in the rising, don't keep it to yourself. Tell us what part stayed with you. What would you have done? Around here, we believe the quietest voices can shake the walls. I used to think mine didn't matter. Turns out, it rewrote a school. Imagine what yours could do.